Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well and staying safe during this time. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. Like I said, thank you so much for checking me out. If you haven't done so, please make sure to hit that subscribe button just right below the video. Cool, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And if you're returning, welcome back. Thanks again for your support. I truly do appreciate having you here.
Last year, Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse was grilled by SEC lawyers and provided sworn testimony regarding all things related to Ripple and XRP. And this was in September of last year. And this actually went on. I can imagine it must have been very grueling. This deposition, the sworn testimony, went on for almost 12 full hours, from about 8 a.m. until about 8 p.m. And if official court documents indicate that, that's how we know that. But one of the things that Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse swore to be true is that an SEC commissioner told him that, from his perspective, XRP is not a security. Although, upon getting questioned a bit further by SEC attorneys, it ended up being the case that, more precisely, Brad Garlinghouse was under the impression, based on the way things were articulated to him, that at least one SEC commissioner in particular was under the impression, at least, that XRP was not a security. Now, note that there are only 5 SEC commissioners at any point in time. And these are the 5 individuals that vote on whether or not to bring any legal action against people and businesses. So the conversation between Brad and this SEC commissioner, which Brad described under sworn testimony, took place back in 2018. The SEC has notes on this meeting and is refusing to turn them over, again claiming privilege, as they've been doing with seemingly every relevant document for over a year now. And so these notes are crucial. They're absolutely crucial to Ripple's legal defense, and we'll be delving into the reasons why. Additionally, the SEC has requested an extension after on the time frame under which the court allows it to reply. Yes, indeed, they requested yet another extension, and Ripple today swiftly replied, "No, that does not make sense." So anyway, plenty to discuss, but I do want to be clear at the outset that I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I am not offering legal or financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. And shout out to James K. Phelan, member of the XRP community, and also an attorney who shared this document. And I'm going to dig into some of the specifics of this, but first I thought I'd just run through a synopsis from John Deaton's organization Crypto Law, because they did a real good job summing up exactly what's going on within this document that Ripple filed in the evening. Yesterday it was made public anyway, so it's filed yesterday in the evening. It was widely circulated by the XRP community. But anyway, so here's what John Deaton's Crypto Law organization had to say on Twitter. Just added to our document library. Motion by Brad Garlinghouse to compel SEC to produce notes by outgoing staffer Matthew Estabrook from 2018 meeting between Commissioner Roisman and Garlinghouse, where XRP was discussed. So I want to mention here, initially, these notes that Ripple had actually already requested them, and they were told that they didn't exist. And then, as Matthew Estabrook is leaving, he's on his way out the door, no longer going to be employed by the SEC, happens to find them. How about that? That's interesting. Maybe he really did just misplace them, or who knows what. But he did end up finding them, so we know for sure they exist. So we have that admission from the SEC. But anyway, so Commissioner Roisman and Garlinghouse, in this conversation they had, XRP was discussed, and also there's exhibits, and the motion and exhibits detail intense back and forth over how in January the SEC claimed it stumbled across these notes as Estabrook was cleaning out his desk as he left the agency. Another privilege log was sent, but, surprise, the SEC claims the notes are privileged. The motion demands the notes be handed over, detailing how ridiculous the privilege claim is by noting that Garlinghouse said in a deposition he remembered Roisman, SEC Commissioner Roisman, was sympathetic to Ripple over XRP in the meeting, and the SEC previously released meeting notes from a 2018 meeting between Ripple and Jay Clayton, where XRP was discussed and didn't claim privilege over that document. Clearly, the motion says, privilege claims are only made over anything helpful to the defendant's case. Was that a surprise to anybody? The SEC, the only time that they're claiming privilege, the SEC's claiming privilege, is when there's a document that would clearly help Ripple. Is that just a coincidence? Are we seeing a trend here, or might these asshats be acting in a disingenuous manner? What do you think? And then Crypto Law writes, exhibits include a Brad Garlinghouse email after the 2018 Roisman meeting, plus excerpt from Garlinghouse's deposition recalling Roisman's sympathetic views of SEC confusion over XRP. The SEC is refusing to release its own notes from that meeting. Wonder why. And so think about this. So we've got Brad Garlinghouse's recollection, and that's just about it. I mean, unless he happened to take any notes, and I don't recall seeing that in here. Maybe he did. But that's pretty much it. But we know that the SEC has these notes. They just don't want to release them. So wonder why. How about that? And then there was this. Exhibit B is the letter of notice from the SEC when they just happened to find the notes they insist they looked for previously and hadn't found, but just stumbled over. Oh, and that they are withholding them. So there you go. They found these notes, and they made that public. Oh, by the way, but we're not going to give them to you. Bye! That's basically what the SEC said. Okay. And so John Deaton shared that thread from Crypto Twitter and wrote succinctly, there's no shame in the SEC's game. Yeah, well, true words have never been spoken. The SEC has zero shame. And then there was this from attorney Jeremy Hogan, who wrote the following. As seen below, the SEC has no tenable basis for raising their DP privilege here, since it conceded to Solomon, that's Ripple attorney Matthew Solomon, that the notes cannot be related to the investigation of Ripple. It cannot be related, and still they claim privilege. Seems the SEC is throwing this DPP Hail Mary and hoping that Judge Torres bails them out on appeal. See, isn't that in line with what I say about a lot of what the SEC throws at her? They'll just make all sorts of completely absurd and ridiculous claims, and you know, because of how absurd they are, that they can't actually believe the vast majority of these claims they're making. They're just seeing what sticks, if they can pull a fast one over the judge. I've been saying that for so much of what the SEC has put out for much of the last year, because it defies logic what they're arguing here. It really does. Now, let me go into, I think when I get to page 3 of this document, this is the one that was filed, or maybe it's, yeah, into page 2, actually. So this is from Ripple's attorneys describing just how ridiculous and the whole situation is, and also how this would harm the defendant's position very clearly if the SEC gets their way. And so it reads as follows. The SEC has suggested that because this meeting involved Mr. Garlinghouse, his need for the notes of it is diminished. On the contrary, in this case, the SEC is suing Mr. Garlinghouse and accusing him of knowingly or recklessly facilitating a years-long unlawful securities offering. The contemporaneous records of this very meeting that have been produced to the SEC show that Mr. Garlinghouse left the meeting with the impression that the SEC understood the legal purgatory created by the lack of regulatory clarity. And so that's reference to a 2018 email from Brad Garlinghouse to G. Hutchins. Let me get a little lower. Here we go. Commissioner Roisman's staff were particularly engaged in seeking to be helpful in the current purgatory in which we find ourselves. That's a quote from the email. And then it continues. Mr. Garlinghouse also testified in his deposition about the favorable impressions he took away from this meeting. I'm going to get to some of the specifics. I'm actually going to show you that some of the testimony, the sworn testimony from Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse in just a moment here. Let me go a little bit further here first, though. Here we go. Garlinghouse. Here we go. This is a quote from Brad Garlinghouse. I recall Commissioner Roisman very specifically saying, "I'm sorry you even had to come here. I think the confusion about the status of XRP he viewed as not healthy for the market." Reasonably enough, Mr. Garlinghouse anticipates that at trial, the SEC may seek to undermine these recollections or suggest they are self-serving. The SEC's own records of what happened in that meeting is accordingly directly relevant to a core issue in the litigation, and the SEC's refusal to produce such records risks allowing the SEC to paint a misimpression of what actually happened in discussions between a commissioner and Mr. Garlinghouse in 2018. Folks, so just pause here, think about this. Why would they not want these notes to come out, right? And they're already clearly, they're not privileged. The SEC is claiming they're privileged, so why don't they want them out? Might it corroborate what Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse is saying regarding the discussion that he had with one of 5 SEC commissioners and the impression that was provided that XRP is not a security? Might it support that case and the SEC is just hiding that? Let me think about that. Seems like the probability of such is rather high. Let's get into, I think it was Exhibit F, and I want to show you some of the actual sworn testimony, which we now have a bit of access to. Let me scroll down. I can find this real quick. I believe it's Exhibit F. Yeah, here we go. This looks like it. I'm going to cover just a part of this. So this is the actual deposition. And as I cited, look, it's on your screen right here. This took place on September 20th, 2021, starting at 8:20 a.m., ended at 8:01 p.m. Almost 12 hours of Brad Garlinghouse having to sit there and speak under oath. That's intense, man. I'm sure they provided breaks, right? But still, I'm just saying that's a long day, right? And so I think I wanted to start a little bit lower. Wait, where did I miss it? Oh, here it goes. So here's a question from the SEC attorneys, and they're referencing this meeting between Commissioner Roisman and Brad Garlinghouse. It seems like there's more than one meeting they're referencing also. But anyway, in these meetings with the commissioners, Did any of the commissioners tell you that they did not believe that XRP is a security? Brad Garlinghouse responded with one word: yes. That's it. For that response, yes. And again, the question was, did any commissioners tell you that XRP is not a security? Now, as it turns out, you read a little bit further, that sounds rather strong. It's not quite precise enough, which is why I want to read through this in the interest of transparency here. And so the attorney asked, who? And Brad Garlinghouse responded, I recall Commissioner Roisman very specifically saying, I'm sorry you've even had to come here. I think that the confusion about the status of XRP he viewed as not healthy for the market. I recall less about the meeting with Commissioner Peirce. And then here's a question from the attorney. Okay, did the chair tell you he did not believe XRP was a security? And then Brad Garlinghouse responded with one word: no. And so I have seen distributed throughout the XRP community a choice selection here, and I don't like it if the SEC does this, or if Ripple does this, or our community does this, but there is a widely distributed tweet that highlights where here I'll just highlights that what's blue on your screen. There you go. That went away. Shoot. One sec. This is what was highlighted in an image, a screen grab of this document, widely distributed within the XRP community, and because it says yes, Brad Garlinghouse answered yes. The commissioner did say that he does not believe that XRP is a security, but then you dig a little bit further, directly below it, now where I'm circling, right below it, he's asked it again, and then he says no. And so it's just, I'm not a big fan of that type of stuff. It's just like, let's just paint the full picture, whether it's in favor of Ripple or Brad Garlinghouse or the SEC. Can we just be transparent and just get the facts and truth out there? I just don't like people being misled, so I just want to highlight this because this particular tweet I'm referencing, I mean, it was liked thousands and thousands and thousands of times. And yeah, if that were the entire story and that's what Brad Garlinghouse was sticking by, yeah, that would be even bigger news, fine. And he did say that, but then he corrected himself and said, no, that's not what happened. And he went on to elaborate that it's really more so that he got the impression based on what Commissioner Roisman had said, that he didn't believe that XRP was a security and that there's clearly market confusion. That's a lot more precise. So I just want to get whatever's out there and truthful. So that's just the reason I wanted to bring that up real quick. There is also this. This was shared by Wrath of Kahneman, who wrote, wow, Jay Clayton asked Brad Garlinghouse to back up from the issue of XRP's undecided security status. This from their own notes. And this is one of the exhibits in that the document that Ripple filed just yesterday. And you can see here the highlighted portion. Incidentally, that memorandum recounts a conversation between Chair Clayton and Mr. Garlinghouse similar to the conversation Mr. Garlinghouse recalls having with Commissioner Roisman, in which he discussed the fact that Ripple was in purgatory due to uncertainty as to whether XRP, the cryptocurrency with which Ripple is associated, is or is not a security. And Chair Clayton asked him to, quote, back up from that issue, end quote, and encouraged the Ripple executives to, quote, continue its ongoing discussions with the staff of the Division of Corporation Finance, end quote. Well, isn't that something? Jay Clayton just dodging the most relevant question to all of this. No one's going to be surprised by that, though. And then we got this just today, and James K. Filan, attorney, shared this as well. I'm not going to read the document. I'll make a full screen in case any of you care to. I read through it, but it's not worth it for the sake of this video. But this is the SEC requesting an extension to respond to that entire legal document that I just provided, or provided a bit of a synopsis for you on it anyway. They want an extension yet again. And then there's this, also shared by Attorney Filan. This is from Ripple's legal team here. You can see it was signed by Attorney Matthew Solomon. And it's on your screen right now in case you want to pause. You can read this whole thing. But they're basically saying no, and it don't make no damn sense that you're requesting this extra time. Yes, I believe in this said that there's they're deposing a witness today, but that doesn't explain at all why they couldn't wrap this all up by Thursday of next week, which is the actual deadline, the 17th, if memory serves anyway. So there we are. That's a lot of legal filings in a very short time period, and that's what's going on here. This case is just completely absurd and ridiculous, folks. It really is. I want this all to be done. I want it to be finished. I want to be over with. I know everybody does too.
I'm your guy. I will keep you posted. I'm your advocate. I'll be back on a daily basis, usually multiple times per day, with these videos to keep you updated with everything going on. So, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't done so, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Feel free to share any of my videos with your friends, family, social media, or anybody who may care to listen. Thanks so much for your continued support. I'm always here for you. I want to help you through this time. So thank you so much for continuing to choose me. Enjoy your day, stay safe, and I'll catch you again probably in a couple hours. Thanks, everybody. See you later.